That picture in there is quite an interesting calendar picture that we've put up for 2023. I talk about my ancestors. My mother's side came from the very second ship that ever came to New Zealand, and we pioneered the West Coast right through to most of the ancestors of mine I don't know much about, but I know quite a bit about Grandad. Grandad on Mum's side, he fought in the Boer War, the First World War, the Second World War. He was medically wounded 5 times, shot, and shell came out of a howitzer once and hit him in the side of the head. Missed the boat to Gallipoli by about 80 soldiers. They cut the line off in front of him and transferred them onto another boat. Not sure where that went, but it wasn't Gallipoli anyway. He fought in France, Hellfire Corner and places like that. He was told he was too old and been wounded far too many times to go to any more wars, so that's the end of that. My father went to the islands and fought the Japanese. They're the ones who chopped people's heads off with swords, in case anybody's forgotten. We have a very large history with New Zealand. We are pioneers here, and I'm the last one in my line. We worked with the Maoris, Ngāi Mirihiku. We treated them pretty well, mostly as far as I know, and we got on really well too. I respect them as people, and I respect the pioneers who came here and did that, and what they did for us. What I don't have any respect for is what's happening at the moment. We seem to have a government, or a series of governments, who think that bringing foreigners from overseas and giving them status more than what the Kiwi citizens have, bringing them over here with and they run around in better cars than us, live in better houses than us, put their kids in better schools than ours. They just seem to be running the whole place, and not only that, they seem to be deciding what happens now. They're in our government. Non-born New Zealand citizens are insinuating themselves into our management, into our businesses, our companies. They're employing their friends and their family members, bringing more and more of them into the country. One of these things that, because I'm quite good at watching the bigger picture of stuff, I was privy to something that happened a couple of years ago. I worked for an American company for a while, and in this American company, the manager was just leaving, and he was being replaced by a South African. So when the South African got in there, he's a really nice guy. Everybody likes him. He's a great fella. I get no qualms about that whatsoever. He's a really decent bloke. However, at the end of 18 months, what I did notice was all of the Kiwis had been replaced by South Africans. So the management of that company is now made up of 4 South Africans and the managing director and 1 Kiwi. And I dare say he'll be gone by now as well. I find that quite interesting. It's a theme that's been running through the jobs that I've had recently, and in the last 10 years particularly, it's got extremely bad. I would say in the next 20 years there'll be no jobs for Kiwis, Pākehā or Maori. I'd say you'll all be wiped out from this country because you're just basically being replaced. I came out of the customs service and the 250 people that were laid off from the government's Border Protect scheme for COVID-19, and as one of those 250 people, we were encouraged to apply for other jobs in the government roles. I walked into an aviation security role here that has been advertised 5 times. And immediately I walked in, I saw 19 people in the room, and 14 of them at least were non-born New Zealand citizens, all applying for this job. This is an aviation security role where the passengers on our planes need to be protected at all costs, and none of those 19 people I saw in that room would have been able to do that job. So most of them, you couldn't even understand what they were saying because their English was so bad. But the level of intensity of trying to get these jobs was quite horrific, really. And I'm wondering why so many foreigners are trying to get the higher level jobs. And I'm looking at some of the management positions in the companies now. When I was at Customs, I had a look through all of the people there, and there is a huge number of non-born New Zealand citizens taking over the government roles, government jobs, and insinuating themselves into the management of those roles and these jobs and these especially government positions. The Department of Conservation I looked at, there was 6 roles here actually that were put up in 2022, and having the most experience of anyone that I know of able to do this stuff, and actually coming directly out of officer roles and going into another officer role, which is absolutely identical, and yet you don't even get an interview. And that's up against 14 non-born New Zealand citizens. There's something not right in our society. There are, when I was at Customs, I looked at the American guy running the maritime division, the German running the whole of Customs, the people in the government who are getting into the Labour Party, they're getting into the Greens, and I mean, these are great people. They're really trying to do the job the best way they can, but I can't help but also see the bigger picture of all of their friends and family following them into this country and taking as much of the job opportunities that are being given to them because of these roles being controlled by foreigners. It's quite surprising just how bad it really is. Anyway, that's my reflections on 2022, because I was determined to keep this short. There's another job that I've been working on, and I've taken some interest in that, so I'll do something a bit later on. But just at the particular moment of if you're as I am, a New Zealand citizen who's got ancestry that goes right back to the very start in this country, whether you be Maori or Pākehā, you want to be pretty concerned about this, because it's getting real bad. And I look at the bigger picture of things, and it's going to affect us badly. And I would say it's only 20 years away before that happens, maybe even less. So anyway, I'm out. That's my reflection for the 2023 year that's gone, 2022 year that's gone past. And yeah, we're going to do another hunt trip next week and see what that kicks off. There's been another drop in with the 1080 that's killed a whole lot of bloody birds and stuff, and Yeah. Anyway, I'm out, so have a good 2023, everyone. Cheers.